NYU is supposed to be one of the best schools in America. So why do they have a professor that says genocide in Gaza is either good or it didn't really happen? Either one is a lie. Speaking of the truth, this is a horrible story. Not that the last one wasn't. There's a guy named Amin Hussein. He's a professor at NYU, one of the top schools in America. He has taught an art and activism class there, and he gave a talk last month where he said, get this, Hamas did nothing wrong on October 7th. All those massacres were staged by the Israelis. Now, this is Hamas that GoPro'd it live, that put it on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere. You can trace the URLs back to the phones that were recording it. These are the people screaming, Allah Akbar, God is great, as they're slaughtering people. The one video that kills me is the one where the guy sends a video to his mom and dad bragging about how many Jews he has slaughtered. This guy says that there's no evidence that any women were raped and babies were beheaded on October 7th. Here is him talking, if I can pull it up here, in his own words.
That's why shit can go down and become emotional fucking problem. That's far. Shit can go down in Palestine. The only reason we're seeing it is because we live in a Zionist city. No, let's be real about this. Be fucking real. They're entitled to think that they can come up, these people can come up and say, because of the Kuvia, you should go back to your country.
We're trying. We're trying.
It's bullshit, right? So then, or for students, for all the students, you to be penalized, or for me as a professor to be penalized, right? I have a petition going around, right, because I'm anti-Semitic. I won the honors of anti-Semitic multiple times, by the way. You know, I think that the thing around violence, and then the other thing is around Hamas. Look, there's 22 factions in the Palestinian liberation struggle, from leftists to Islamic groups, Islamic Jihad, you know, the Islamic resistance movement, Fatah, PLP, the Democratic Front, endless groups. These groups are fighting for the liberation of their people and the land. That's a right. You do it. If you don't like Hamas, right, free the land and the people. But if you don't like Hamas, also, read their charter from 2017. Don't take what the media says. It's really important. And I think that in the midst of thinking about these factions, why is this important? Because these kind of questions try to put you on the defensive. They try to say, okay, well, are you supporting, oh my God, you're supporting rapists and people that behead babies, both of which, you know, whatever, we know it's not true. But the president keeps repeating them, right? So it's a thing. So that's what you're doing, and you need to be able to kind of stand firm on this.
I can barely watch that without breaking my computer. They keep repeating that babies were killed and raped, and we know that's not true. This is the height of absurdity. It's like saying you're white, I'm black, just because we say it, even though our eyes and our ears tell us something different. Hamas is still bragging about the slaughter every single day. When this idiot, Professor Hussein, says, read the charter, that's the one thing he said that was perfect. Please, read the Hamas charter. It calls for the execution and the elimination of everybody that lives in the Jewish state, and then to track down all the Jews around the world. That's what their charter says. Please, read it.
But for them, Barry, that's loving. There's nothing wrong with that. For them, but you already aware of this.
He says they're not calling for genocide. He said the opposite.
Yeah, I agree. But that deep down, they believe it's their duty by God to do it. That's why they don't see that part in the charter as an issue. They don't see it as an issue because they believe that they're called by God to do it, right? And at the same time, this has become like the biggest, well, one of the biggest, and it was not the single, one of the biggest propaganda agendas ever happen on planet Earth. They go in, they slaughter 1,200 people, and then turn right around because the Israeli military is going in, getting rid of the cockroaches. Oh, but now Israel's doing genocide. Forget about the 1,200 people that they murdered. That's not the problem, because again, to them, God has called them to do that. So it's excusable. There's nothing wrong with it. That's why you don't hear nothing about Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Presley, AOC, the squad. None of them that are real outspoken against Israel. None of them are talking about Hamas doing these horrific things. None of them are even talking about Hamas keeping aid and food from getting into Gaza. They turn right around because of the propaganda. The propaganda, they're telling everybody that it's Israel that's preventing the resources from getting in there. And we've talked about it. When the resources are allowed in there, Hamas takes it and won't even give it to the people. So they can starve the people and tell the world that look what Israel is doing. And what really gets me, Barry, is how people are not able to understand and see that it's right there in front of them. It's right there in front of them. And they completely be like, no, Israel, look what they're doing. They're doing genocide. And I'm like, are you not even paying attention? And it really doesn't even take that many brain cells to do it, Barry. Just two. Less than two, actually. But they don't even occupy the one. Talking about occupying something.